It's currently a $3 trillion asset. I think it goes to 100 trillion. The only way it gets there is to have more larger and larger pools of capital coming into the space. But if you think of it in those terms, it's still only 3% of the journey to where it's going to in the next 10 years.
Jesus.
Yeah, so it's
your thesis of 100 trillion for the asset
so
class?
Therefore, it goes up 30x from here. I mean, again, people don't realize that. Am I too late? Bitcoin's at $100,000. Am I too? I'm like, it's 3%. And it's therefore it should go up 33x from here. Okay, find me anything else.
In this fascinating interview, Raoul Pal breaks down why he believes crypto is the biggest investment opportunity of all time. He explains how Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other digital assets are still in the early stages, comparing their growth potential to the rise of the internet. Raoul reveals his $100 trillion thesis for the crypto market, why retail investors have the first mover advantage over institutions, and how exponential returns are still possible. Stick around until the end to hear why Raoul believes Bitcoin is just 3% of the way to its full potential, and how investors who understand this can position themselves for life-changing gains. Also guys, if you like our cryptocurrency content, please remember to like and subscribe to stay up to date. Now, over to Raoul.
Crypto is like having a share of the internet yourself. So imagine how empowering that would have been. Imagine if every person who used Facebook was given a share in Facebook. Right?
Retired.
We'd all be super rich.
Yep.
That's what crypto is. And so you can invest in this and it goes up at about 100 to 150 to 200% a year, depending what asset, including 3 80% drawdowns. Okay, now you can unfuck your future pretty quickly, because if you've got $1,000, but it goes up 100% a year, it just compounds and compounds and compounds. And now you've got the secret. It's the big secret. It's the big opportunity. It's in fact the biggest opportunity of all time.
But then we get into this, and I'm with you. But I'm just trying to be right now in the shoes of the average person who's not on crypto yet. And they hear crypto and they associate with Ponzi scheme. It's a fraud. It's going to zero. It's backed by nothing. Then 22 happens. There are black swans. There's FTX or whatever happens to happen. And they're afraid. How can we in this space be better to onboard more people and let them understand the big picture you're trying to do right now?
So when you were in a frontier, go back to the United States in the 1800s, there were cowboys.
Yeah.
There were bank robbers. There was all sorts of crazy people. Everybody was fighting over the land. The Mexicans, the Spanish, the English, the French.
Then the gold rush happened and it was nuts.
Right?
Yeah.
What you have is a lawless society that's learning to organize. It ends up becoming the United States of America. So when there's massive opportunities, it brings all sorts of players.
Right.
Like the internet did. From the Nigerian prince scam to Google. They all exist. And over time, the authentic businesses build scale and people get to understand them. But in the early stage, you don't really know. So it's a feature of an early stage market, of a frontier. So what you're saying is, okay, well, we do have easy ways here. Is Bitcoin. You don't rely on anybody. It's this asset that's global, that's homogenous, that's available to everybody, that you can buy from your mobile phone, that cannot be destroyed, cannot be intervened by anybody. It's yours. Okay, well, that's an easy bet. I'm not now relying on a scam or anything else. There's no Ponzi. It just is. And then we look at Ethereum. Well, Ethereum's like the supercomputer of this new internet that allows you to have contracts online. Smart contracts. That's what makes Ethereum. So then you can do all sorts of clever stuff, whether it's from tickets to agreements to whatever. Human society is organized by contracts. So then what's the probability of scammed at the token level? 0. These are huge, distributed, multi-million people networks.
Speaking of Ethereum and Bitcoin.
Yeah. And Solana and many of the big ones.
By market cap, the top ones, kind of like the safer
Where
ones.
people lose their minds is they want to get rich quick.
Chasing the next meme coin, the next big thing.
Well, because people suddenly start to say, oh my God, I don't need to be trapped in the world of 10% a year in the stock market.
Right.
I've now been given this 100% a year, and then you become greedy. All you see is, I could make 1,000% or 10,000%. And then you do stupid shit. And that's when you get scammed. Because now you're exposing yourself away from the simple bets of investing in the technology layer, so now you're investing in the applications layer. And that's when businesses are starting, who's building what, it's a meme coin, it's a DeFi protocol, it's all of these things.
ICOs back in 2017,
And
2018.
then you've got to ask yourself, are you qualified to be a venture capital investor, early stage? Are you doing the due diligence?
Taking the risk as well.
Taking the risk.
Yeah.
Right. They all are a power law. And so what that means is most of their bets go to somewhere near zero. Or let's say 20% go to zero, 50% don't do anything, and 10% make all the money. Now, are you qualified to do that? No, then don't do it. You don't have to do that bet when the assets are growing at 150% a year at the base asset, Bitcoin or Ethereum. You don't need to buy NFTs. You don't need to buy meme coins. You don't need to do any of these things. That's the really hard thing, is the system sucks you into greed if you're not careful, and it's unnecessary.
Raoul Pal challenges the need for institutional validation in crypto, emphasizing that retail investors have had the first mover advantage for the first time in financial history. Unlike traditional markets, where institutions get in early and retail investors are left with scraps, crypto has flipped the system. Retail investors front-run institutions, capturing the majority of the upside before large capital inflows drive prices higher. He explains that Bitcoin and crypto as a whole are still only 3% of the way to their full potential. With a projected market cap of $100 trillion, Raoul sees a 30 times upside from here. Even if he's wrong by 50%, the potential is still a 15 times return, something unmatched in traditional finance. He argues that people hesitate, thinking they're too late, when in reality, the biggest growth phase is still ahead. Raoul also highlights crypto's real-world impact, particularly for people in emerging markets. He shares the story of his barber, a Filipino immigrant in the Cayman Islands, who built financial independence through crypto. By using peer-to-peer payments, remittances, and smart investments, he was able to take a year off work and enjoy life, something unimaginable under traditional finance. To Raoul, crypto isn't just about speculation. It's a life raft, a way for people across the world to escape broken financial systems, grow wealth, and take control of their futures.
People want to be validated. It's a ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
Oh, BlackRock think it's good, so therefore I'm not stupid. It's like, you're not stupid because literally hundreds of millions of people are using this,
Right.
making money from it, building on top of it, and creating a new future. So therefore you can't be stupid. You do not need some bloke on television telling you that it's valid. So what we've done for the first time in history, if we go back to how I started this journey, those of us at the centre would get the opportunities. And then you would charge layers of fees until it comes down to the individual. Well, they didn't even see them. They don't get to invest in Facebook when it launches. You know,
Or Uber or Airbnb or whatever.
anything,
Yeah.
right? We don't get any of that stuff. It eventually goes into the public stock market and at several $1 billion. Yes, it went up a lot after that, but somebody's made 1,000,000% returns before then. Right? This is the complete inverse. There are no gatekeepers. Retailer first. They front run all of the institutions. They get all the opportunity, all of the upside. And the institutions come later and force the prices up, and we all get hilariously rich. Genius. It's a complete inversion of how the financial system works. So it doesn't really matter. I know people want the validation. Regulation helps because it stops governments shutting down your business in a different country. So yes, it helps, but don't forget, it's currently a $3 trillion asset. I think it goes to 100 trillion. The only way it gets there is to have more larger and larger pools of capital coming into the space. But if you think of it in those terms, it's still only 3% of the journey to where it's going to in the next 10 years.
Jesus.
Yeah, so it's got,
Your thesis of 100 trillion for the asset
so
class?
therefore it goes up 30x from here. I mean, again, people don't realise that. Am I too late? Bitcoin's at $100,000. Am I too... I'm like, it's 3%. And it's therefore it should go up 33x from here. Okay, find me anything else. Assume that I'm wrong by 50%. It goes up 15x from here. Find me another investment anywhere in the world that will unfuck your future like this. It doesn't exist. Certainly not one you've got access to.
Or that's legal. The other one would be drugs or whatever. That's a completely different conversation.
Yes, but that has a massive risk profile of loss of life.
Yeah.
Right, so I understand. Like, people in economic hard times choose extreme situations. Now, given the choice, let's say you are on a border town in Mexico.
Right.
Right, and you can either work for the cartel and get a decent living, but you've got risk of death. You can probably make higher percentage, well, you will make higher percentage returns in crypto and not have to have risk of death. So really, it kind of should force a lot of people out of other industries. Yeah, more illegal industries where people need to make money, because the reality is people in the drug business aren't bad people necessarily. The system is bad of what they're doing, but really they're just individuals trying to unfuck their future. If you're in the cocoa farms in Peru, you're not thinking that your farming is killing kids in nightclubs in Chicago. You're like, I need to make a living, pay for my kids. I don't want my kids to die off, So the incentivization structure is very different. But here we've got something that can get you out of that. It's fascinating.
The life raft.
And I see it here. The guy who cuts my hair is from the Philippines, and all the guys in the barbershop are all Filipinos. And they're all crazy crypto dudes. I'm like, why? What got you into this? And Asians like gambling. Okay, I get that. But he's like, simple is we send money home to our parents or to our families, remittance payments.
Yeah.
And we just learned that crypto was the easiest rail, so we all opened a Binance account.
Yeah, P2P, and that's it.
And then once I've got a Binance account, I'm like, what's this? Oh, this is going up. And then they're in.
Right.
And so these are pretty simple folk from the Philippines. I mean, my barber had here in the Cayman Islands, if you haven't got a permanent residency, every 7 or 9 years, you have to leave for a year and come back and reapply for your permit. And he'd been off for a year. And I just saw him last week. I'm like, Jules, what have you been up to? Were you working in the Philippines? He's like, no. I said, why not? He goes, Solana. He's like, I didn't need to work. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. He goes, I made 10x in Solana. I spent a bit of that. Didn't work. So I spent a year with my family doing some good stuff, traded a bit of crypto. I'm like, okay. That's the empowerment.
That's what you call the lifestyle chips.
This is a barber from the Philippines that's working in the Cayman Islands. And he can not work for a year because of his investments.
Raoul Pal makes it clear, crypto is still in its early stages, and the biggest opportunities are yet to come. He emphasizes that retail investors have the rare advantage of front-running institutions, something never before seen in financial history. With a potential market cap of $100 trillion, the upside remains massive for those who understand the opportunity and take action. Beyond price speculation, Raoul highlights the real-world impact of crypto, showing how it empowers individuals, breaks down financial barriers, and creates new paths to financial freedom. The future of money is being built right now, and those who embrace it early will be best positioned for what's ahead. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments section below.